Oh, gotcha. Yeah, this isn't gonna be quick at all. Sorry, mates. Today, we're celebrating an oddly specific YouTube milestone and going incredibly in-depth into the channel's past, present, and future, with details on how you can be a pivotal part of this whimsical YouTube journey. Before I begin, I want to make it clear that every YouTuber and creator that I mention in this video will have their respective websites linked down below. Please give them some love and tell them I sent you. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. So, let's begin. But first, some context. It was just over 11 years ago that I found myself enthralled with the idea of getting into the movie industry. Back when I was 14, I was a microcosm of the creator that I would eventually set out to become, drawing and thinking up ways that I could make things for a living. I loved mechanical things and cars, and I toyed around with the idea of becoming an industrial designer, or something along those lines, but I never really nailed down what I wanted to be. Always tearing things apart just to see how things worked, and several times I had piles and piles of skateboard bearings apart on the floor just to see how swapping parts around would affect how things worked. What pushed my interest towards the movie industry was the onslaught of 3D CGI that had began barreling its way into people's homes and piqued my interest in becoming an animator. You see, I had a bit of a roller coaster of a childhood, and these movies were my escape from what had become my daily reality. We didn't really have a lot of money. One movie in particular that jump-started it all was 2007's release of Surf's Up.
So why are you guys here to interview me?
It's what we do. We're a reality film crew.
Should I know some of the questions before we start? Just so I don't... just, you know, they're easy.
What with its crashing waves and paradise landscapes. It was the original spark that ignited the flames. It was this thing, this idea that you could create any world you wanted, and inject the details that simply didn't exist in the real world that drove me mad. I want to be there. So, Autodesk Maya, here I come. Oh boy. Maya was such a challenge for me back in the day that after horrendously failing to make a simple face, I gave up on it entirely. No more movies for me here, folks. I mean, I didn't really have the best computer in the world, and I was trying to use student versions of text tutorials to make it. Not exactly the greatest resources in the world. But what can you do? Mom, on the idea of being an industrial designer, I was getting closer and closer to getting my driver's license and needing to buy my first car so that I could get a job and maybe, just maybe, ease some of the family's financial burden. I took the money that I had been hoarding and saving up since I was 13 to try and purchase a vehicle, and with just around $700 to play with, my plans were just to buy a clunker and fix it up myself. Instead, to my complete surprise, my mother had saved money over the years for this very moment. A sacrifice that I'm forever grateful for. My first vehicle, this 1995 Jeep Grand Cherokee, began the start of something new. I would spend countless nights at my grandfather's garage, my hands stained with gasket material and nothing but the soothing, clicking sounds of a ratchet. It was these many days with my grandfather and this old vehicle that sent me into what would be a passion that I'd see through for the rest of my life. Or so I thought. Ah, graduation time. A grand time for all, yes. At the beginning of 2010, I made the difficult decision to forego an art career in favor of something that I thought might bode best for me both in the short and long term. You see, all of those hours turning wrenches and fixing things that were broken had become sort of a thing that I never seemed to get tired of, and I decided the best course of action would be to make that my career. I knew that I couldn't possibly afford to put myself through a 4 to 6 year period trying to earn an engineering degree, so I opted for the next best thing, to become a mechanic. It was something that I could get a job doing pretty much immediately, and I could always go back if I tried to go a different route and things didn't quite work out as planned. So I left my dinky little hometown of 550 people, remember that number, 550, to go to school in Wyoming, where I got a job while I was still attending, graduated, and was a master mechanic for quite some time. But I quickly realized that something was a bit off. The industry was not looking good, and the tug-of-war relationship between the consumer and the business was something I no longer wanted to be a part of, and I began to feel that creative itch again. In 2012, I was introduced to a game called League of Legends, and by 2013, I found myself streaming the game nearly every day. I made a successful guide that reached a couple million views, and I was generally feeling pretty good. I thought I might have found something that I was looking for. Something that could be big, something meaningful. But that wasn't the case. After nearly 4 years of streaming, I lost all motivation and decided to call it quits. I wasn't good enough at the game to be notable, and with my daily job, I couldn't be consistent enough to warrant a good following, and rightly so. And honestly, I'm kind of glad I did. Not because I failed, but because I was doing it for all of the wrong reasons. I was chasing numbers, fame, fortune, viewer counts, and followers, all of the kinds of motivation that I now know are unsustainable. By the end of it, I was just completely drained. I had lost the will to go on. You know, something I learned throughout my career and streaming tenure is that one of the weakest links of the whole ordeal is the fact that both choices require a time commitment that was very rigid, and not in a good way. Both my career and streaming required me to physically be there, otherwise nothing would be accomplished. I only get paid if I'm physically at work, and stream viewers only get the experience they're looking for if I'm physically online when they are, which puts things in a bit of a pickle. And no, not the delicious kind. So in 2016, I was looking at the ways I could continue the fun that streaming brought without the strict time constraints, and thus began a revitalization. My brother had gotten me an old PlayStation 2 as a gift, and I decided to clear my mind by going back and playing the old titles that I didn't get to as a child. Alright, let's load this game thing up and let's get it started. The games that looked amazing, but I didn't have the coin to purchase them. And oh man, was that a good decision. I started playing a game series that I had somehow missed that completely felt like it was made for me. I mean, look at this game. It couldn't be more perfect for me. The mechanic protagonist and his determination to go out and see the world, and all the tech and the sick gadgetry, and the space travel. A rejuvenated me decided to start something new, and to begin creating again. After the release of the remake of said game franchise, I decided that I should stop waiting around for something to happen and begin doing what I wanted to do, this time for an entirely different set of reasons. And so, on May 22nd, 2016, this YouTube channel was born. Originally named Route 1 Reviews, this channel didn't really get any content at all for months. I found some old footage from a friend from high school and then pieced together a throwaway video using Movie Maker just for the funs. It wasn't until my 25th birthday that I really decided to put my foot down and get to work. Inspired by the YouTube channel RegularCars, where a regular dude makes straightforward and cynical reviews of cars that aren't very spectacular at all.
No, I'm not taking my tail off. It's who I am. Here I go.
I started to make game reviews that did just that. Because I don't know about you, but having every single review be upbeat and happy when the game isn't very good just seems ingenuine.
No, this one just assaults the air.
I made a promise to myself that I would come out with a video every week, no matter what. So I bought Adobe Premiere Elements and began stumbling my way through learning how to edit. October 11th, 2016 began the official start of the channel. I released the first 3 reviews, the first of which being a way too drawn out review of, who guessed it, a Ratchet and Clank game. These videos would be accompanied with some behind the scenes stuff, which turned out to not be very popular. But again, I've quickly found out that doing game reviews was very time constraining, and doing a video a week was just simply unsustainable. I had just purchased a new camera for behind the scenes stuff, and I wanted to keep getting better at making things. So after talking to a coworker who also had a YouTube channel about movies and such, decided to go together downtown on a very chilly night and just film some stuff. We had no intention of what we were going to film, we just wanted to try out some things. That video turned into a silly cliche movie trailer spoofing the found footage horror genre, which I called ambiguous. I felt like I had learned a ton in the few months that I had my camera, and decided to make a set of videos based off of the hours and hours of research that I had done in between work and making videos. And little did I know, these would be the videos that would set my channel into motion. You see, a lot of online tutorials have this problem of rambling on and on about what they're going to talk about, and the like, subscribe, follow, shout out, etc., dragging on endlessly without talking about any of it so that you have to skip the first 10 minutes to get anywhere. You know, kind of like the video you're watching now, except those videos are actually supposed to be like helpful and teach you something. This video is literally designed to be useless. And so, I decided to try and make my tutorial videos as clear and concise as possible. Quickly tell you what you're going to learn and then get right to it. My final game review was released on March 28th, 2017, and I began the rest of my video series on how to use a camera, since I found the lack of videos that were beginner friendly that also went in depth. It was about a month later, when I was visiting a friend back home, that I was introduced to the video series Marble Hornets, which was a very cool concept based on the Slender Man online mythos. The concept was really cool and intriguing, and proof that you don't need fancy cameras or equipment to make something amazing. They took what they had and just rolled with it. creating something captivating and totally watchable, rolling their equipment into the story concept. I basically told him, my friend, that I wanted to spoof the series and began my new video series, The Connection, spoofing the Slender Man series in a serious, not so serious kind of way.
There's no key.
Look through the eye, and you'll see the earth.
Today, I have over 550 subscribers. Well, why is that significant? Well, you see, here's the thing. When I created this YouTube channel, I didn't really expect anything at all. I didn't even know the direction the channel was heading or what kind of content that I wanted to make. I just knew that I wanted to make stuff. For months and months and months, I made videos and had pretty much no one watching. I could upload a video and not have 10 people watch it. I began caring about the numbers, the time I was putting in. But then, in June of 2017, I was playing a crack in time when I had an epiphany. It was then I realized I had to stop wasting time. I realized that we only have so much time, and we don't even know what that is. Why waste it comparing ourselves to other people? Who cares how many subscribers that other person has, or how much better they are than me? Our circumstances and experiences are different. The only person I should be trying to win against is me. With this newfound motivation, I began finding other things that would inspire me on a daily basis, and following some heroes of mine that turned out to be not so far away. I found a lot of inspiration in voice actors because their passion for their craft is unprecedented, and they got to where they were by pursuing the craft. The most notable ones being James Arnold Taylor, Rob Paulsen, and David Kaye. I began reading Brian Allgeier's book, Directing Video Games 101, and things really began clicking. Once I realized that I should make videos for the rush that making them brings and not the rush of the numbers is when everything fell into place. And out of nowhere came what I had been asking for the whole time. First, 40 subscribers, then 100, and a few weeks later, now I'm here, 550. 550 amazing people. My hometown population sign used to say 550, but now it's down to 500. 550 subscribers is significant because it's a place I'd never thought I'd be, and I never would have dreamed of as a child, living in that small place with a population of 550. So, what am I going to do now, you ask? Well, since my epiphany of sorts, I've turned on the afterburners, and I've been working on many things. At the end of the day, I want to tell stories that can be told with a visual medium that is movies and video games. Recently, I've decided to try and pick up Unity so that I can create my first video game. I've decided to pick up coding and found it terribly difficult to find any tutorials that were for complete beginners until I found a YouTuber named Clever Programmer, who teaches Python in the exact way I was looking for. Since I started to program, I realized the lack of videos for the complete beginner for cameras, so I'm currently working on a video series that does just that. Starting with the super basics, with exercises to put what you've learned into practice before moving on to the next video. Alongside those, I'm working on a couple inventions which can't be disclosed in detail but are currently being worked on. The Connection is still an ongoing thing and gets squeezed in between the various other videos I'm working on at the moment. I'm also working on a portfolio website to house everything in a concise manner, as well as provide a space for the blog that I'd like to work on. Going along with this website will be some other videos I'm in the process of making, namely a channel trailer for the YouTube channel, as well as welcome and thank you videos for my Patreon page. There's a motivational video on the way, I've got several music videos I'd like to work on, and outside of the tutorials, Slenderman spoof, welcome videos, learning coding, and teaching myself Unity and the rest of the Adobe suite, I'm trying to work my full-time job, so things can be a little bit hectic. So, where does that put you? Well, if you made it this far into the video, I'd like to congratulate you on your efforts. This really was supposed to be a quick update. And at this time, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of my viewers, including you, for taking the time to watch and subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me that my hard work is appreciated by so many people.
I've waited for so long, I've run aground. I feel I'm burning up inside. Oh, hear me crying. I feel like everyone's alive, and I am dying. Oh, 'cause you are all I need. The reason I breathe.
If you're wondering in what other ways you can support the channel and help shape the future, there are several things that you can do. I'm looking for constructive criticism on my videos, both the good and the bad, and the best part about YouTube is that it's relatively anonymous. I've asked friends and family in my circle to give me feedback, but of course most of them want to be nice and say, yeah, it's really good, I like it. It's a nice gesture, but it really doesn't help at all. Fastest way for me to get better is to know what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, and getting unbiased opinions are really hard to come by. So I'd like you to do me a favor and grill me in the comments section. Tell me what you like and what's trash, and don't be afraid to hurt my feelings, as long as you're not viciously attacking me, which I expect on the internet anyway. Some other ways you can get involved is on social media. I practically update everything I'm doing via Twitter, and then it gets posted to the channel's Facebook page, so if you're interested in frequent updates, you can find me there. The reason I don't scream to like and subscribe and all that other blow up Facebook ask for views is because I would rather have people watching because they wanted to watch and not because I asked them to. I also feel like I still have a long way to go as a creator before I can confidently consider myself top quality material, and that if I make enough quality stuff, things will work out in the end anyway. I don't advertise this often, partially because I don't want to be that guy, but I do have a Patreon page and every bit helps. Patreon is a place where creators can get backing for what they do to help pay for hidden costs of being a creator. Trust me, there's lots of them. It's kind of like tipping your waiter after a nice meal. I don't have lots of rewards on there because I don't want people doing it just for the rewards. I would much rather people subscribe and become patrons because they enjoy what I'm doing and not because I told them to, so consider this whole thing a bit of a one-off occurrence. Whew! 550. How things have changed. Let me know how I'm doing as a creator. Your feedback is greatly appreciated, and thanks for sticking around for this long-winded video. Be sure to remember to check out the links below for the other creators. This video was inspired by all of the Gaming Brit Show's content. His growth over the years is inspiring, and I encourage you to check it out. There's a bright future ahead, and I'm glad to have you along with me along the way.